but the overwhelming focus is solving full self-driving. So, yeah, and that's essential. And like that's really the difference between Tesla being worth a lot of money and being worth basically zero.
Yeah.
So.
But the main question I've been getting from people is this still a gimmick? And I think the answer to that all depends on how comfortable you are with rolling the dice.
So are you willing to gamble with people's lives and roll the dice? That was actually a video coming from AI Driver, who ironically uses an image of a Terminator robot driving a vehicle as his profile picture. And if you saw that movie Terminator, you know how that came out. The robots won, the humans lost. And the question again I pose to you is, do you want to gamble with people's lives? Are you willing to roll the dice with Tesla's robot driving technology?
Coming up here, coming straight out right away, and pauses right there. It actually just stopped. It says aborting to mitigate collision. So that is not good. Let me release it and say, come to me again. There's a car right behind my car. Give it a second here to come back. It says preparing. It's taking a lot longer to prepare for taking off than it ever did before. And here it comes now. Okay, great. Took a little while there, but thankfully nobody is getting upset with us. Hello, Tesla.
Thousands of Teslas driving themselves in parking lots all over the United States every single day. Probably nothing. That's coming from Tesla stock promoter Farzad on September 7, 2024. And the question I pose to you is, do you want thousands of these things in parking lots? Basically, these people are beta testing the software in public. And the reason why they're doing it in parking lots is because this technology is not street legal. I'll repeat, this technology is not street legal. So they're doing it in parking lots, yet it's in public. So they're going to be at like Costco parking lot, Target parking lot, etc. And I just want to point this stuff out to you guys also. The probably nothing phrase, that's sort of a sarcastic statement that the Tesla stock promoters say.
I mean, they're confident enough to let their cars drive with no driver in the front seat around any parking lot you want. And that shows, yeah, crazy. I mean, it honestly is. It's absolutely crazy.
Tesla's driving by itself.
So walk us through that feature, you know, and then what's really cool about that is like the videos that are coming out of that actual Smart Summit is like, it actually looks like what has been promised forever, which is a Tesla driving itself without anybody in the driver's seat, which is like such an incredible sight to see, right? It's like, it looks like Waymo, but in a Tesla. So this is specifically for use in parking lots. So this is, for those that are not familiar,
you can see a lady loading in groceries into the back of her car and another car waiting for her spot with its wheels turned all the way to the left. Now, most people would just squeeze this gap, no problem here, but actually Smart Summon does not seem very confident in doing that.
So Tesla calls this technology A.S.S, right? Actually Smart Summon. They really do call it A.S S, and you have people out there testing this thing, making videos. So for example, this one is pushing Tesla, actually Smart Summon, over the limits, which is not something I really want people doing, but they're not alone. They got a bunch of other people out testing this stuff in public, in parking lots as we speak. And again, this technology is not street legal.
And it again gets stuck here for so long that more pedestrians start approaching from behind, which makes it not want to move at all. This is where things honestly get pretty awkward, and if there was a car behind us, I definitely would have ran over to correct it, but it lucked out and there was no cars behind us in this moment. And in case things weren't awkward enough, it goes ahead and triggers automatic emergency braking for getting too close to this curb. You can hear the car absolutely skid to a stop, and we have a message on the screen saying aborting to mitigate collision.
So as you can see, Tesla robot driving is frankly not ready. And again, they're testing this stuff in public in these big parking lots, even though the thing is not street legal. The problem is though, too, with the robot driving is it may never be ready because there's no human in the front seat. And so there's no human to signal other humans, be it hand signals, voice signals, etc., to figure out these crazy situations that happen when you drive. You guys know this if you drive. The other thing too, I want to give a word of caution. Any of the videos that you see on YouTube, the experience of YouTubers who may be essentially influencers for Tesla may have a different experience than what you experience. Why? Because it's reported in the Business Insider that Tesla allocates extra resources and engineers to the experience of Elon Musk and to the experience of essentially the influencers for Tesla. Let me leave a quote on this. It says here, "It seems pretty clear that Elon's experience would be better than anyone else's," a former employee said. "He was seeing the software at its best." Another worker said they had misgivings about the initiative. "It seems like we were purposely making this car better to make autopilot look different than it was." And that's from another former employee. And that person says it felt dishonest. And again, this is something that Tesla does. They've also faked videos in the past. So back in 2016, Elon Musk was promising you this robot driving technology. And here's a quote: "It will take us some time to complete the validation of the software and get regulatory approval. But the important thing is that the foundation is laid," right? And that's Musk on robot driving. Tesla spent a year testing the hardware, and Musk said the company's goal is to, quote, "a demonstration drive of full autonomy from LA to New York by the end of next year." So that was back in 2016. He's promising you this thing will be ready by 2017. And he even mentions regulatory approval, which they still don't have. Again, this technology is not street legal. That's why these people are testing this stuff in public in parking lots. So just last year, there were Tesla owners testing out this Tesla A.S.S technology, or A.S S, and unfortunately, they crashed into another car in the parking lot. You can see that Tesla hitting the Toyota here. Here's some comments on that video. Mountain biking person says, "Note to self, press the forward arrow first, then summon." Helen says, "Just happened to me, same exact thing, couldn't believe it. What a waste of $6,000. PS Pro says, "Exact same thing happened to me. The common thing was I was also facing out. I wonder if we can all file a class action." And Peter says just a couple months ago, "Just happened to me as well." So the question I pose to you is, do you think this stuff is ready? And should they be testing this stuff in public? Could hit a person, could hit a car, could hit anything. So the problem with Tesla and Elon Musk is you can't trust what they say. They tend to misrepresent their tech. Unfortunately, people get hurt, and there was a person that was killed, the family sued, and then one of the Tesla employees that was working on the robot driving had to give testimony. This was the quote here. It says, "The intent of the video was not to accurately portray what was available for customers in 2016. It was to portray what was possible to build into the system." And that was coming from Ula Swami. The basic gist of it is that Elon Musk directed the engineers to hide any mistakes, hide the crash, because it actually crashed when they were filming the thing, and basically make it seem like a continuous video. So it was a marketing that was misrepresentative of where they were. And Tesla has been investigated for false advertising.
Accumulation of laws and regulations, eventually everything becomes legal. And that's like the hardening of the arteries. Or a way to think of it is like being tied down by a million little strings, like Gulliver. You can't move. And it's not like any one of those strings is the issue. You got a million of them. So there has to be a sort of a garbage collection for laws and regulations, so that you don't keep accumulating laws and regulations to the point where you can't do anything.
So you have Elon Musk basically saying, "I'm a giant, and all you little people out there with your little lives and your little concerns and your little laws and your little regulations, you're holding me back. I want to test my robots on the public. I want to test my robot driving on the public. Why can't I test it?" And guys, this is what's going on, right? These cars that these Tesla people are putting out there, they're not street legal, but yet they're testing them in public in parking lots, right? Because we have rules and regulations to keep these things off the road until they're ready, but yet we found a loophole that we can do it in parking lots.
I wish you could just like for a week go into Washington and like be the head of the committee for making, what is it, for the garbage collection, making government smaller, like removing stuff.
I have discussed with Trump the idea of a government efficiency commission.
Nice. Yeah.
And I would be willing to be part of that commission.
I wonder how hard that is.
The antibody reaction would be very strong.
Yes. Yeah.
So you really have to. You're attacking the Matrix at that point. The Matrix will fight back.
And he's as smart as you get. But Elon endorsed me the other day, and I didn't even know this, he didn't even tell me about it, but he gives me $45 million a month. A month. Not 45 million. Gives me 45 million a month.
And now you have Elon just tweeting this out just a few hours ago. It looks like he's looking to be a cabinet member or head some sort of commission. Department of Government Efficiency, or DOES. That's what you get when you back a president with millions of dollars. And basically, Elon wants to remove any kind of laws and regulations that hold his technology back, because who cares about you little lives of you little people? And I'm going to get rid of your little laws and your little regulations, and I can funnel the money from the government and your taxpayers, because you're just a bunch of little people, to my companies. That's Elon Musk, and that's what he's after.
Tesla Motors was recently awarded $465 million in a loan from the federal government, and I believe SpaceX seeks money from the federal government as well. Doesn't this contradict your libertarian views?
And no, I don't think it does contradict those views, because we're just living in very unusual times. We're living in times where capital availability is extremely difficult, and even the private markets are somewhat weak right now. This is the worst financial period since the Great Depression. So I think special times call for special circumstances, and I think in this time, particularly when you're dealing with something that requires an enormous amount of capital to get done, which is to build a car company, I think it does make sense to accept a loan from the Department of Energy.
Then you have this. A couple of the Tesla stock promoters make very, very similar videos within a couple of days of each other. First one from the Peggy. My brother tries Tesla's FSD for the first time. Then you got the Mars dude. My dad couldn't believe how Tesla FSD, blah, blah, blah. Basically, I wouldn't be shocked if there's some sort of communique out there that says, hey, if you're a Tesla stock promoter, get a family member to make a video with you. I wouldn't be surprised. The one thing that I will say, though, is that these people are not following the manual. If you don't know, Tesla recently changed the language of the FSD. Now it's called supervised, and essentially you're supposed to put your hands on the wheel. Let me show you some of the videos of this. Check out where their hands are.
We're trying the full self-drive for the first time with the whole fam right now, and this is my first time and our first time, and dude, this thing is wild.
This is crazy.
This is crazy. Like, we're not like,
it's like
dude,
you're,
okay,
like
hold on, bro, like, it goes by itself. All right, so it's take a right and take a left. So let's see if this thing can do it.
Wow.
Oh.
It's automatic.
Yeah, it's automatic. Sorry, lady.
So this is according to the Tesla owner's manual. You must keep your hands on the steering wheel while full self-driving supervised is engaged. Also says here, warning, full self-driving supervised is a hands-on feature that requires you to pay attention to the roads at all times. Keep your hands on the steering wheel at all times. And it says failure to follow these instructions could cause damage, serious injury, or death. Essentially, guys, you also got to be careful of the stuff you see on YouTube. If they're part of the Tesla VIPs, they're going to get special attention from the engineers over at Tesla. So then their experience and the stuff you see on YouTube may not necessarily be the same experience you have. Moreover, unfortunately, Tesla owners get in a lot of accidents. This is a real problem, and in my opinion, this stuff isn't ready to be on the road in this way. But you know how it is. People are going to play with this stuff, and people are going to get hurt.
But the overwhelming focus is solving full self-driving. So, yeah. And that's essential. And that's really the difference between Tesla being worth a lot of money and being worth basically zero. Yeah.
So Elon Musk has got to solve FSD, or at least pump the stock with smoke and mirrors. And this is him tweeting out, thanks to Ashok. Ashok was the first person to join the Tesla AI autopilot team and ultimately rose to lead all AI autopilot software. Without him and our awesome team, we would just be another car company looking for autonomy, a supplier that doesn't exist. By the way, I never suggested that he say anything, and I had no idea he wrote this until I saw it 10 minutes ago. And so you can be the judge whether or not this post was suggested by Elon or completely independent by a staff of Elon. Basically, it's called Elon and AI at Tesla. And here's the quote referring to Elon. He was the one who bet on vision, we're talking about cameras here, vision and AI to solve autonomy instead of relying on sensor crutches and high definition maps. So in my opinion, guys, I think you need these sensors. They're not crutches. You need the sensors and you need high definition maps. Why doesn't Tesla have sensors and high definition maps? It's not about like, it's a waste of time or a crutch. It's about cutting costs. Tesla's cutting costs here. Elon's trying to do this FSD stuff with only cameras and quote whatever AI is. And I say quote because that's a very loose term over at Tesla. And also to the guy who wrote this post, he's the same guy who was in on the fake video back in 2016. And this is how it is. So what's the next pump for Tesla stock? Well, it's this. Tesla says it will launch the full self-driving product in Europe and China early next year. And I say, yeah, right. I'm making a joke. It says Q1 2025, FSD Europe pending regulatory approval and FSD China pending regulatory approval. So my understanding of Europe is they do have driver assist stuff, but it's got to be hands on the wheel. They're going to be much, much stricter in their laws than they are in the USA. We also have people in the community that are from Europe, and they say the same thing. Chances are it won't get approved. China, I say theoretically gets approved. Theoretically, if you bribe the right government official, that's how business is done over there. So it's certainly possible. The problem is, guys, though, is that driving conditions in Europe or in China are very, 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 very different than what you find in suburban USA. It's really different. So I don't see it working in nearly the same capacity. It's probably going to get stuck a lot because you have all kind of pedestrian traffic, bicycle traffic, etc. Anyway, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this thing. What do you think about Elon Musk, Tesla, and what do you think about regulations? Should these cars be allowed on the road? Should they be allowed in the parking lots? I want to hear your thoughts, and I'll catch you on the next video.